All right, good evening, all Star Wars CCG fans. This is Jared Napolitano, aka JNap, the marketing advocate for the PC. And with me this evening, I have Chris Kelly, the design advocate for the PC. How's everything going today, Chris?
Good, Jared. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. So we just did a quick test, so hopefully everyone can hear us okay. But Chris and I were just talking that we're going to talk slow and just make sure that everything's go for launch. We are not, on the tech team here in the PC. We are just a couple advocates, but yeah. So we're going to talk about first a exciting event coming up that was Chris's brainchild. That should maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then we're going to jump in and do a live deck building session, something I kind of teased and been interested in doing with Chris, because I know that this Force is strong with in my family. Epic events very near and dear to his heart, and I think there's a lot of exciting stuff that can be done with it. So I think that might be valuable to people who are interested in it. And yeah, we'll go into there. But first, let's talk about the upcoming event for June, Chris. How did this idea come about?
Um, to be honest, I love our community, and a lot of times when we're traveling to events, we get to build decks and play physical cards. But we also pretty strategic and hard. The piece is really it is a charity organization, so we're able to relax, have fun, but also give back. And I know every year for Father's Day, Major League Baseball does their awareness for prostate cancer. They use blue bats and things like that. And I thought we could do something like that as well. I got my blue sweatshirt on, so it just kind of spawned out of that idea. I saw baseball doing it. There's a lot of opportunities for us to have the opportunity to give back. So I thought maybe we could do like a Father's Day promotion, just like baseball, and it's a lot of us ourselves are fathers. So it's something to keep in mind. That men have some health issues too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will get into all the nitty gritty details. There is going to be a post available on exactly what this event is, but at the core of it, it's going to be play Star Wars cards, get some really cool exclusive prize support, and probably more importantly, or definitely more importantly, raise some money for a good cause. So we could talk about the cause a little bit, we could talk about the prizes, and we could talk about kind of the nature of the event. So maybe I'll jump in just on the nature of the event, and then I'll toss the second two to you, Chris, and we can talk about them together. But so more or less, we're going to call this the 2022 Star Wars CCG PC Father's Day fundraiser event. So that's a big mouthful, but basically it's just going to be, we'll call it the Father's Day fundraiser event, and it's going to be a GEMP Open League that's going to span June 1 to June 30th. So just the way there's often GEMP leagues. There's going to be a maximum of 20 games. There's going to be levels for prizes that are at 4, 8, and 12 games. So if you want to kind of max out the prizes, there's 12. If you want to get to 20, do really well. Of course, with Jump Leagues, you get points for, even if you lose a game, you get points, and that's what we're going to be looking at is the cumulative points, and we'll give out some neat prizes for performance as well. But it's not, we don't want this to be like a cutthroat competitive event. This will be mentioned in the post, but the June OCS is going to be going on at this time. So if you got some hot tech that you want to kind of hold back, play some maybe more fun Fred decks or just maybe tier 1.5 type decks that you like playing. They're somewhat viable, but they're not the best decks. So that'll be the gist of what we're going to encourage people to do. So play games, and then like I said, we're going to have these special foils. So I'll let Chris describe the origin of the special exclusive prize support.
I'm sure it's no secret that everyone knows. One of my favorite things about Star Wars is the whole Luke and Vader dynamic. I've always loved the fact that even before the prequels came out, you have this little kid who came from nothing, who just loves his father, and then finds out who his father is. And notwithstanding that, he overcomes his fate and his destiny just because he makes good decisions and he's good at heart. And he overcomes what his father couldn't do. So that part of Star Wars has always intrigued me, and I've loved it. I know my virtual card, like my father before me, it's such an iconic line in the Star Wars universe. So it just kind of pops out at me. and then it's foil, no pun intended, of "I am your father." For the Luke effect and the Vader effect, they just resonate with me, and they just feel very, very Star Warsy to
Mhm.
me. And I don't know if you're able to spoil what's the prize is going to be.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we'll do that in just 1 minute because then like we're describing these things and then we'll show everyone kind of a visual, so it'll bring some of this into focus. But again, this is going to be a jump league. We encourage everyone to play games. You're in these special foils, which you're going to show in a minute, and then we're also going to be raising money for a cause. So the cause, I reached out on Slack a couple weeks ago about if anyone had any personal connections, experiences, any particular organizations related to prostate cancer research, education, anything kind of in that field. So one of our design team members, Ryan Jellison, reached out. He has kind of a professional connection with the UCLA, some of their different research organizations and programs, and there's over 400, he said, related to prostate cancer. So I did a little research on the website, kind of picked this out, ran it by the advocates, got some feedback, and it's going to be the office, I'll go here, just get the name right, Institute of Urologic Oncology. So I can now jump in. I'll move Chris and I over to the side here. But again, just to recap, play games, earn special foils, raise money. The way that everyone's going to be able to register for this is I'll move Chris and me down, where right now we're blocking it. Or maybe I'll move us to the side. It's going to be make a small donation. So the way we're going to track registrations is you just make a donation using a link in this webpage. You can donate 1 cent. You can donate $2. You can donate $5, $25, $50, whatever you feel comfortable with. But that's the way we'll check the PayPal account. We'll see, hey, who's registered, add them to the Gemp League, track your games at the end of the event, who's played a certain number of games, you get the prize support that way. So this is a post on the homepage right now, and we have announcing the 2022 Father's Day fundraiser event. So this is where all the details are. A lot of the things we've touched upon already, but just to reiterate, the proceeds for this are going to be to the University of California, Los Angeles Institute of Urologic Oncology. So urology, oncology is a study of cancer by definition, particularly the prostate cancer program area, to help support research, education, and healthcare of prostate cancer, as which Chris alluded to is one of the most common types of cancer in men, only behind skin cancer. So that's the cause. Those are the logistics of how to register. Let me pause there. Chris, anything to add before we show off the pretty cool prizes?
yeah, just now that the cause is out there and spoiled, this has been something that a lot of us have been talking about for a while. To be able to give back and emphasize our charity, position. We've some Sean Valdez writers. This cause just felt kind of right because it does impact a lot of members of the playing community, and the timing, everything, Father's Day around the corner. Something we've talked about a while, and it seemed like a very wild cause and ability for us to give back.
Yeah, and for sure. And I left that one by accident. One of the most important things about this, the PC is going to be doing a match donation up to $500. So, if we raise 400, we'll send 400 in as well to supplement what everyone else has donated. If there's 1,000, we'll send 500 for a total of 1,500. We'll see where that is, but I think it's really obviously a great cause, and it's something we can kind of do our part and pay it forward, to get together, play cards, but also unite around a particular worthwhile fundraiser event. So like I said, I described how to register. Again, this is on the webpage. If you go to starwarsccg.org, it's under the news section on the right. Kind of the logistics here, but here are the card images. So like Chris said, there's an AI of I Am Your Father V and of Like My Father Before Me. So I'll try to zoom in here so people can see it, but these are really, really sweet images. Chris, with the help of the graphics team, obviously tracked these down. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so they're bigger. Hopefully everyone can see them. They are, clearly the images from Vader at the end of Rogue One and Luke in The Mandalorian. So I think they're pretty sweet. So hopefully the chat agrees. And yeah, they're going to be given out as Gemp AIs to everyone who plays at least 4 games. And if you get to 12, you will receive physical AI foil slips of these cards, 1 of each.
And credit to graphics and Christian for finding those amazing images. like I said, it really resonates me the duality of the father and the son, and when you look at those images, it's the same exact picture, but one evokes this feeling of terror, and the other evokes this feeling of hope.
Mhm.
But it's the same picture. So I always that definitely intrigues me. I think it's really relevant and pertinent on Father's Day to have that dichotomy there. So I love those images and graphics knocked it out of the park as they have been.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and actually, kind of like an infomercial, but wait, there's more. So we're also going to take this opportunity to give out one of the very, very new and very difficult to acquire Japanese foils of a particular character. So I'll describe this, and this is not going to be the only time these cards are available. I'm sure some people are going to be like, "Is this the only way I can ever get this?" No, it's going to be the initial way. We're going to give out four copies, or four individuals who play the, I think 12 games is maybe where I drew the line. Will be eligible to get a random drawing and receive a Japanese Mara Jade foil. So this is something with the help of Eric Hunter we've developed, and we have these printed out on the cool foil paper the PC uses. And I drew the line at eight games, so not even 12. So if you want to be eligible for the Mara random one, you have to play just eight, over the course of a month. So from June 1 to June 30. And then other kind of logistics in here, for most people who have played in recent events, I should have your email or your mailing address so I can ship these to you with other player support. I'm sure that many of you have earned. But if not, please send me your mailing address. So if you want to participate, this is the first thing you've done in a long time. Or if you've moved recently, especially, please let me know and let me get your address so I can ship this out to you. So those are the pretty cool items. Prize support, we're also going to give out a couple poker chips, some Gemp Gold for some good performance. And as Chris definitely offered, if you do really poorly, Chris will sign so, like my father before me for you to have, right? That was your offer, Chris?
So if you do terribly, I'll do that.
Yeah, so this, it's what today
In
is.
your games, you don't get stuck with one of those.
Yeah, yes. So like I said, so maybe folks don't want to play all the same exact decks. You don't want to get people too used to playing against your decks. So don't play your your alpha decks. We'll say like you do in the OCS. I can't stop you from doing it. I also can't stop people. We want people put. When you fire up your games, please plan to play them out in good faith. Play them to their end. Like I said in here, don't subvert the intent, the goodwill, or the goodwill, the good intent of this event. Play your games out, please, and yeah, earn the prize support. So today's May 16th. We'll draw the cutoff for registration at May 30th, which is 2 weeks from now. What I'm going to do, because with these events, there's always people that want to register late, and I don't really want to turn people away from playing Star Wars cards and earning foils, and most importantly, raising money for a good cause. I'll do like one round of the late folks, we'll say, so people can register up until I guess technically June 7th. But what I want to avoid is, adding people 14 times a day, or not that many, but constantly. So I'll do like two rounds of everybody who registered by the 30th, so they can hit the ground running on June 1st. And then anyone who registers in that grace period, I'll do one swift round of updating, add them all, so those folks still have 23, 24 days to get their games in. So that'll be the plan. So that, like I said, we have a couple weeks for people to register. We'll promote this on social media, and via this webpage article that has everything you need to know. Let me go back up here to show the AIs. And yeah, and that's that. So, anything else to add here, Chris, on the Father's Day fundraiser program?
Yeah, just to echo what you said, it's meant to be fun for a cause, so be a jerk. And if they won, I think Jared and I are going to be trying to build a Skywalker deck. Play that in the event. If we come up with something good, maybe I'll load that up a few times. So make sure it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a game. Make
Yeah.
sure you're
Yeah, for sure. So we could segue into that. I just want to confirm: is everyone? Chris sounds a little robotic sometimes to me, but maybe that's just me, and maybe everyone hears him perfectly fine. So please don't be afraid to let me know, because what we can do with the deck building is we can just do audio, and if that makes the stream a little smoother, we can do that. I just want to make sure that people can get the gist of what we're trying to do here. But we'll segue into that. So again, let us know. It's just me that's here in the robotic. Okay, great. I mean, it's not like awful. I can definitely understand what Chris is saying, but I just want to make sure that everyone hears him okay. All right, so I will close this. I have Jump open. All right, Chris, let's get our hands dirty here with some deck building. So we have a little agenda too, because I definitely want to talk about a couple things. So right off the bat, Skywalker Saga. Obviously, everyone's aware. I think you touched upon this in a couple places, so I don't want to go too in depth. But it was released in set 17. It was kind of a low power level, wasn't overpowered by any means. Then there were some helpers that came out in 18. Can you talk a little bit kind of about that process and kind of the angle that you guys approached from design for the 18 helpers, we'll say?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it came in underpowered. A bunch of ideas happened in playtesting where before we released it in 17, initially it went first but had some restrictions, kind of like San V. It's actually, to be completely honest, where I wanted it to be. I was outvoted. So we made some changes, and unfortunately, those changes made it bad. So one way we thought to attack it was give it something new that a lot of mains decks don't have, and that's a space presence. We like what QMC does with Hark, so we thought, well, let's do that with some Skywalkers. And then also, one of the original plans for the Anakin effect was to make him deploy 6, like the Luke effect does. We ended up not going that route initially for space reasons, the tech space. But then we thought adding Destiny is really good, so he's probably worth 8. Turns out he wasn't worth 8. So we set it so that he would be -1, so he's
Right.
at 7. And something that I personally like is Luke has a deck, Heiko, and Rey has a deck, Legend and even OA. But Anakin doesn't really have a deck. So if there is going to be a mode that this deck favors, it should be, the patriarch of the family. It should be Anakin.
Right.
So I like how it just naturally does encourage, Anakin mode.
Yeah, I have seen Anakin's and I've seen a couple Luke's, at the PC20 event. There were a few. I saw one Ray, and I definitely want to ask you, do you have a favorite one? Or what is your favorite one, number one? Number two, which do you think, how would you rank them right now in terms of potency, just initially?
Um, so I thought Luke was my favorite just because he's my favorite character, but the most fun to play without a doubt is Anakin. Just the fact that lightsaber goes on so many different people, it gives you an opportunity to swing lightsabers. And Anakin really is just a fun card to play. There's a lot of strategy. You lose 2 to add destiny.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I'm playing it, I know they have command, but I lose 2 and grab it or do something along those lines. So I think Anakin is the most fun. Most powerful. Anakin's probably also the best. Um, in my opinion, that's largely because you get 3PO from turn 1. And that's such a huge advantage, such card advantage.
Right.
So I'd say Anakin and then Ray.
Yeah. Hey Chris, so you just got choppy again. Let me just end the call and I'll just call you voice only, okay? Hopefully that helps. Okay? I'll call you right back. Disconnect. Hey Chris, are you there? Disconnect. Chris, can you hear me? Oh, there you are. Hey Chris?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, all right. So hopefully this is a little bit better. But yeah, you were saying how Anakin's the most fun, probably the most
Yeah.
strong. The one thing with the Luke one, I kind of think you want to. I'm sure people ask themselves, why would I play this versus Hiko, or maybe why would I play this versus like the Pyre, like let the Wookiee win. So, not that necessarily there has to be a definitive answer right now, but because of course new sets evolve, new cards come out, maybe that those diverge a little bit, but. Yeah, I feel like Ray's been the least popular. I did see Eric. I think I saw Eric Hunter messing around with it a little bit, maybe even before set 18. But yeah, the Anakin one is definitely really strong, or seems to be the strongest one right now.
Like I said, I think that's 3PO. I mean, you get card advantage from turn one,
Yeah,
which really nullifies the advantage of Luke, which is the Destiny 6.
yeah,
I don't. I don't mean nullify. It closes the gap. I guess is a better word. Closes
yeah,
the gap.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you sound better now too. And plus, we were frozen on our screen anyway, so it's not like anyone's getting
Interestingly,
body.
now you sound more like a robot to me, but that's all right.
Oh, really? Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So one of the other questions I wanted to ask you was, so like with the Jawa format, that bans Bring It Before Me. How do you think those might impact? Like, will this make me more likely to play the Luke one, or more likely to play the Rey one, because I don't need to kind of be so Luke centric?
So I don't know. I know with my deck that I played for the PC 20, I struggled between using the Luke mode of Skywalkers or Hitgo, and I was running the Force is Strong with this one. I think if you pop in one or two non-virtual Force is Strong with this ones, you kind of turn Hunt Down into a pretty favorable matchup if you catch them right. You're pulling an adder. You can hopefully cancel theirs with Screaming Baby Hold together, and all of a sudden your Destiny is pretty good. You can get some beats in. So I don't know how much it does affect it. I've never really been scared of bringing before him. You just deploy your Luke judiciously, and worst comes to worst, if he gets captured, you either free him, you got to fight Vader, or you can go and fight the Emperor at the throne room. Drop a spy, beat him up with Luke, and then move over to your other Destiny 2 set.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. All right. So
And
then,
also against Bring Him Before Me, you basically get 5 extra life force. You just lose your Lukes as you draw them.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, just deploying from Lost Pile. Yeah, there's still deploy 6 with like my father. Okay. So one more question before we actually start doing the deck building. So are there any cards that you view as staples in all three of these? I mean, I think Paulus Massa, Best Star Pilot Effect, and Yoda, probably 2 copies because he's such a good card. Those are probably the ones that are in like all of these, right?
I don't know. I have a lot of decks of them built, and probably Yoda is the only common one for sure, and maybe Skywalkers, just because there's a lot of barrier going around. So
Yeah.
barrier camp that adds to Destiny in most games is good. I don't have Pulse Massa or Best Star Pilot in all builds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it takes away your a limited character base, and it takes one of your strong out of the way. It gives you space presence, but it's a ground deck, so I don't have it in all my builds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's jump in. Let's do a Ray one. So it's you have that power. So I kind of have it on my screen now, where and like hopefully you could see this, or trying to be sensitive to the bandwidth, but more or less I have Force is Strong with my family epic event. I have the Skywalker starting interrupt. I have the training course. I have 4 or 5 copies of the Everything We Need, so that Ray one to pull the saddle, which is in here, and the 2 Kef beer locations. I have Paulus Massa, and then I have like a bunch of copies of Old Man Luke, a bunch of copies of Jedi Ray, 2 copies of Yoda. The Parents Were Strong, Walkling, couple Run Luke Run, couple lightsabers. So maybe just conceptually, and the chat can see this, but I start with the Falcon outside my deck. So I think the space package then with Ray would probably be what, 1 or 2 solos, and then maybe 1 or 2 Poes, and maybe like a Chewie V.
So what I have
I really want to
in
play
mind,
Chewie V.
yeah, 2EV actually isn't that bad. What I have in mind that I've pulled up is a little different. I'm using EPP Luke and EPP Ray, and just stacking Pulse Massa and abusing Draw Their Fire in the epic event, and then a Jedi's Resilience,
Oh, I like that. Okay.
which leads it towards Anakin in ship. Because you're getting Anakin in ship, and you're also getting the Falcon for free.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
And
good.
I'm also running 2 R2 Brave Little Droids.
Ooh. Yeah, so I just put my AI or Zerr Angel that I really want to use. and I'll
Yeah,
do
get it.
Anakin, Padawan learner, and yeah, and R2 can go on. I want Brave Little Droid, right?
Yeah, I have two of them.
Since Destiny sixes are good, right? That's a good thing.
That's what they say.
So I had my plan was going to be the two Kef beer locations to kind of have Luke and
Mhm.
Ray just kind of tank at those with maybe like a run Luke run. Maybe that's a little aspirational. I'm sure I need like blaster deflection. You know, Ray's not quite as much of a tank in this as she is in Legend, right? But the problem is if
Yeah.
I'm starting Walkling, which is probably like the default in addition to Star Pilot, how am I getting the lightsabers out? Like Ray downloads once per game, do and that's probably maybe what drew you to the EPP Luke and Ray, because like you don't want to use if you use weapon left to dig it out of your use pile, then you're kind of first of all then your opponent's definitely going to pull the shield, so you're not going to get that through. So what I might do here, I'll probably just build this. It's definitely not going to be the optimal build, but I'm sure I'll maybe tweak this a bunch as I play it. But yeah, I like that. But so that's interesting. If you play the EPP Luke, EPP Ray, you're playing basically no Jedi except maybe a Yoda.
Yeah, I got two Yodas. Gift of the Mentor can pull your lightsaber if you want.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about putting
Versus
two
Luke
of
and
them
Yoda.
in.
Um,
Yeah.
but I love a Jedi's Resilience. It's just such a good card. You get to draw the fire retrieval, you get the epic event retrieval, then you clear some guys, and you take the guy back in your hand and go again.
Yeah. Because yeah, then you have Luke's lightsaber and Anakin's lightsaber on EPP Ray. The space. So you're saying so the Falcon. I definitely want like a Solo and a Poe.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned Chewie V. I'm actually running Chewie V in my Luke mode with Ray and Solo on the Falcon, and then Chewie's backup. Also, I found I have deployed Chewie on ground for some beats so many times. He's deployed 3 hour 6.
Yeah.
6. He's just good all around. And in any arena, he's really good.
Yeah, I always like that cheap deploy and the fact that he prevents Zuckuss from reducing it. Right, that's like one of the best things about him. He also draws if unable to, or draws, yeah, if unable to, makes it maneuver +2. But if Solo's on this, it's already 6, so he can't add to it in that case. But yeah, so I'm just kind of making a pile here. But this, oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. So like activation though, so obviously that's why another reason Walkling makes sense because you get the bump from the epic event, you get the bump from Walkling, you pull saddle, you pull Paulus Massa, you get the training course. I guess have you kind of messed around? Like I have these two Kef beer sites, but they're putting out 4 icons and 3 battlegrounds. Is that too much? Do you think?
So, yeah, mine also has both Kef beer sites. I feel like I would drop one of them because you already have your 2 battlegrounds, and I know you mentioned having Luke and Ray each at one site. Is that you're going to cap yourself at damage if you're using your only 2 good hitters at your own sites in a main deck? A lot of my Luke decks start off with both Death Star 2 sites, and then I always end up cutting one. And if you get into a drain race, you get into a drain race. But I always end up cutting one of the sites. So I feel like one site's good with the system.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously, you're a much, much, much better mains player than me, and that's kind of the key thing about mains, right? Is they want to attack the opponent's battlegrounds and not put out too many that they.
Yeah,
Cause
the only time you'd want both sites is if you want to set up search and destroy or get into a drain race. But I do think dynamic changes. You are putting space in your mains deck. Obviously, if you're going up space deck, you got to do more than Solo and Poe on the Falcon. You got to load that thing up,
yeah,
or maybe an R2 or even Cassian help pretty considerably.
yeah.
If they're shooting at your Falcon or Cassian up there.
Are you doing the Jedi Council package or Jedi
The
Council chamber? I
deck
should
I
say.
have doesn't, um, but it's so good, it's so good.
Yeah, maybe that. And what? And yours, you're probably doing like 3 times, 3 of each EPP, or just 2 and like 4 resilience or
3
something.
Lukes, 3 Rays, 2 R2s, 1 Chewie, Landos. One character I'm not using EPP of is Leia because her gun
Oh yeah,
is floating gun, but
yeah, that's
run
everywhere.
2 Leias and 3 leaderships. You're gonna get her into your hand.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, her gun is just so good. It helps in so many matchups. And like if I were to do something like this with Jawa, it'd probably be helpful against like ISB, especially with like a mess, right? So the people who are
And
watching,
it's
I'm
to the
sure.
point where if you drop Leia, they have to bury your perk
Yeah,
because they have to assume you have the gun. So then they bury your Leia and you either Skywalker's that or you then drop your VP.
yeah. So that's where Skywalker's comes in. Do you think? So are you running what 4 copies of everything we need to get the saddle and the one Kefbir battleground?
So cutting against my own argument, I'm actually running 5 in this version, and I do have both ear sight.
Okay.
Um, that probably is a mistake.
Okay.
Probably should be
Yeah.
4 and 1.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just making this is a pretty raw version, and I only have so many persona. I guess. Yeah, because there's.
Admin.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. With the Skywalker ad, there's gonna be a bunch of things where I'm just like, oh yeah, how could I forget that? Like well, staples, like the utility cards, like Nestler maybe, or which maybe might not be necessary, but escape pod combo, right? And and Hujix probably.
And Admin space is just cut through everything.
Yeah, yeah. Invader's custom ties V is good, but it's not in too many decks because obviously Vader's such a good ground character. But yeah, I really want to use like Azure Angel is really cool. R2 Brave Little Joy is really cool. These, I feel like that's one of the cool things about this deck is it offers opportunity to play cards that aren't often played, which is also, kind of one of the things I like about the Java format is that you can play kind of non-elite card, so to speak. But yeah, so I'm piecing this together. I think for the audience, I'm not gonna fully refine this per se, but I definitely have some good starting points. That's interesting about the EPPs, because
So also with EPP Ray, one card that is so good is I Can Handle Myself. Makes EPP Ray immune to attrition.
yeah,
That's Destiny.
yeah,
You can hold it to see if they hit her. Then if they don't hit her, then use it. It's really good.
right. Yeah, where's you do the force drain? So yeah, now even if I do this Jedi Ray thing, she's good, or that card's good because she's only immune less than 5, which can be cracked pretty easily. So that's pretty good, I guess. Yeah, maybe the run loop runs like the bionic hand. I probably want right. Probably want a clash if I got late. You probably got maybe even 2 clash. The Matt Sokol special.
Yeah, double clash, so good.
Yeah. I feel like, unfortunately now, I feel like Grimtosh and Monarch kind of need to be. Oh, I'm talking to the wrong person. I think those are becoming a little more popular now. That you could thank Jump Tom for that. But
No lie, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this. We just started talking about in design making like new Grimtoshes and Monarchs that just have the big hand function. But they trigger at like 14 cards versus 12 and have a higher destiny.
yes,
And secretly, my hope is that they get approved and then cause the other versions to not get played.
yeah, like a smoke screen there. But then
Yeah,
also,
yep.
so between that alternative, which I'm sure probably has some more utility than typical, or else why would
Yeah.
you play or Better Destiny or something? But
Right.
and then of course the shield that protects or somewhat protects against the lost function of Monarch. So that's good. So for the Grimnock haters like you and Gritty and or Gritty Matt Wadden, so that's good. Good to hear. But okay, so yeah, I got some blaster deflections. I got a barrier. I got a Hujix. I gotta refine this because I don't know if I 100% need a Hujix. Cause I've seen, I remember Joe mentioned this on one of his streams that sometimes like Nestler combo can act like a Hujix, where it saves you forfeit, especially if you got like Ray or Luke and they got 7, 8, 9 forfeit, whatever persona people are using. But I know just like Map and Shadow Collective and like CCT, more so Map and Shadow Collective, they're tough because they can just bring like, like 5, 6 characters to a location and just be really aggro, right? And then,
Yeah, and that's why I like the Luke mode. You have that one anti-stacking site. So you can
oh
put
yeah,
your
yeah,
Luke there and you
right,
just say, hey, this is my best character. You only get 2 shots to try to do better than me at
right.
this site. And that I think helps versus Map. Map's just a tough matchup for mains, I feel.
Right.
Unless mains get those hard, quick, and gets the right opening hand, it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, that's a good point because I just totally lost my train of thought there about map and that new location is really neat though. Just an interesting concept where there's only one character per side that's allowed. So that's obviously really good for like Hitco because Hitco needs a little help. I think now it's been struggling for a little while, right?
Yeah, we have actually a. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's something I think super cool. It plays off of the Your Destiny mechanic from Ring Before Me a little bit. I don't want to say too much. I think it's a helper in the way a lot of helpers should be. That it's very thematic and lets the deck do what it wants to do without forcing something unnatural, without answering something. I think it's really good once we refine it in D&D and gets playtesting. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, good point, Turner in the chat. And obviously, Chris, you just said this, but it didn't register to me. For some reason, I thought it was only one per side, but you said you get two shots. But yeah, so it does allow the dark side to have two characters there, and light side only gets one. So that's pretty cool. That's probably definitely, and the God, the image is great too. One thing I do want to mention
I
too.
want to revolve that site. Like, they got two guys there. You revolve it. It's too late to pull the shield. Well, the shield doesn't matter. And all of a sudden, the guy's lost.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, good thing Revolution shielded. But that's not the be all end all, of course. But yeah, I do want to mention too this training course. This is the AI foil, yeah, for nationals. For U.S. nationals, it's going to be the border breaking one where there's only like one side, which is really cool. Kind of like what I have here with the saddle. It's going to look like this, where you just have the light side game text. That's the way the training course is going to look. So you won't have this whole dark side stuff, and you won't have this we'll call borderless is what I think Christian's been using it. But yeah, you mentioned it before, but yeah, big shout out to Christian. He's actually, today's Monday. I interviewed him today, and I'm going to replay that interview on Wednesday for Hollow Theater, which I'm filling in for Dan, at 9 o'clock Eastern as a plug to everyone who might tune in. Kessling's going to join me for a little bit, but so that's that'll be Wednesday. But yeah, I like Gift of the Mentor just because I pair Luke with, and maybe even the EPP that works pretty well, Luke and Yoda. I wonder Chewie. I wonder if to get him, like if he was Destiny like 4. No, that'd be crazy, right? Power creep. Like what's one way we could get him more?
Ideas.
How can we get him more playable? Because yeah, though Destiny 1 is brutal, but in this, obviously you can pair him with the Falcon. Is he a matching pilot for the episodes for the Flip Falcon? Chewie?
Um, what's his own text might be, right?
It says the Falcon, Junkyard Garbage. It doesn't.
Yeah, so he would be, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah. So Chewie can go with it. Like if you open hand solo, for example, then you can pull Chewie out from your reserve. All right. Yeah, I like that. Maybe like get a few maneuvers or something. I know it's a card that Turner likes. He's participating in the chat, but he likes the R2D2. I always spell maneuvers wrong. I always want to spell it MANU. But yeah, probably not. I'll probably cut this, but we'll put it in for now. But okay, all right. So Chris, I think we have a good core here. I kind of like what you were discussing too with kind of EPP route, putting out less battlegrounds, being a little more aggro with like draw their fire / battle plan. But yeah, I'll tweak this. Hopefully if people are interested in Skywalker Saga, aka Force is Strong in my family, especially the Ray version, maybe this is a starting point. Some good ideas that Chris threw out here to consider, and this is something I want to do for a little while. So selfishly, a little bit for me to have a good starting point, but also hopefully maybe some other players find this useful and helpful. But yeah, with that, Chris, I think that's about all I have. I just want to thank. Any kind of parting thoughts on the Ray variant?
I think it is the worst of the three. I think that allows us to kind of give it a little help, a little boost. But as we're talking through it now, there's some good combos in here. Definitely something that could come to fruition, and I'm sure one day we'll look at deck lists and someone's going to do really well with something that has been there the whole time that no one really uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exciting. I like how just like communing, it's the same deck, but very, very different based on, who your mode is.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I mean, that's really neat because with EPP Ray, you get the retrieval if you hit. So obviously that center has synergy with those high destinies of hitting pretty much anybody. And then obviously every time you initiate a battle, so that goes with the draw their fire. Do you saying the battle plan combo or just draw the fire
No,
itself?
I just use other fire on
Oof.
combo, and also
Damn.
don't forget, Leia also will allow Ray to retrieve.
Right, because yeah, that's what this does. That Ray is a Skywalker. Wow, so you could in general layout too. You can you could conceivably retrieve like a lot of force every battle. So
You
that,
could get 4 force back if you hit someone, and then
yeah.
you get your Ray back with the Jedi's resilience.
So with that, definitely a barrier canceller. Obviously Skywalker's is in here, but probably a second barrier canceller because I think one question in the chat. Yeah, I think both barriers are popular right now in the meta, even though there's plenty of cancelers for them. But they from going back to 1995, this card's never seemed to go away. Simple.
And it's like there's decks running 4 barriers. You're not going to draw your 4 barrier cancelers before they get all theirs. So
Right.
it's very good card right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hate grabbing it personally, but I know sometimes that's the better play. It's nothing more frustrating that you think about, oh, do I grab the barrier? Do I grab the barrier? No. And then your opponent plays a second one at kind of a key moment, and then if you did grab it, maybe they wouldn't have had the 3 force to do it.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. Well, yeah, Chris, let's call it here. Thanks so much for joining. Like I said,
I appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, no, thanks a lot. I'll post the the webpage is available, so starwarsccg.org to find out about the fundraiser event. But I'll put that in the forums now as well, and like I said, we'll promote it more broadly as in this 2-week lead up to the event. But yeah, great idea, great execution on the idea, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to people playing in the event and the prizes being distributed, and most importantly, us contributing to the cause of the UCLA. Institute for Urologic Oncology. I think I got that right. Lot of vowels. All right, Chris, you take care. I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night, everyone. Appreciate your time.
All right, yep. Bye, Chris.
Take care.